Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebar2go.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we recap the 2024 Kentucky Bourbon Festival. My name is Miss Beka Sue. Please join me welcoming my co-host, Steve Akeley, as well as our special guests, Darren McElroy and Ryan Thompson.
Hey gang, what's up?
Hey y'all.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, so we're going to be talking today about the 2024 Kentucky Bourbon Festival. Beck and I were both attendees. We'll talk about where it's at these days, and we'll weigh in on where we think it's going and stuff like that. We'll get to that after the break. For right now, though, Becca said there's something she wanted to talk about. What is that?
I do. So there is a series on Netflix called Dark Tourist. Has anyone ever seen that?
Yeah, I have. Yes.
It sounds great though.
So what it's about? It's
that haunted
really,
house they go to is.
It's really funny, but also it's definitely some dry humor to it. But it's this guy is literally going and doing dark tourism, which is like going places that are not something that you would just pick. Sometimes it's really creepy stuff. Well, a lot of times it's like creepier or like really weird places that you would be a tourist at.
Is that why someone offered to come to my house the other day? They're like, I want to take this tourist group to your house. Yeah. It's a weird place.
Is potentially getting murdered, actually.
Right.
But it's like people going on like Jeffrey Dahmer, like where he lived at and like places he killed people, and they're talking like the stories about Jeffrey Dahmer. Another one was he went and visited people who say that they're vampires and they drink blood.
Yeah.
He went over to Russia and like was looking in like this big lake that was like super nuclear.
Oh God.
And they said like they're gonna go swimming in this lake. They went over to another place in Russia that has a dictator. It's not really, it's like part of the Soviet Union, but they have a dictator. It's one of the Ekistan places. Very beautiful, the most like white marble buildings like in the world, but just like it's beautiful, but for who? Because like no one goes there. But I wanted to know if you guys ever have done any sort of a dark tourism before, and you gone and did like things like when we go to Key West, Steve, and we go on like the ghost tours.
Yeah.
Kind of weird,
stuff like that.
Honestly, because like you're going and like seeing where people died or were murdered at, and like it's a little strange,
right?
I think. Yeah. They're cool, but it is a little bit strange. But I want to know if you guys have ever done any sort of dark tourism where you kind of were like, "Oh, that sounds super weird and creepy." And
I did, but not on purpose.
Okay. Okay.
So there's that. This is 25 years ago or so, and I went over to Prague, Czech Republic, and I was on a tour with a number of people. And I think there was a movie that was called Taken, or something.
The movie?
And it was filmed in
with Liam Neeson. Yeah.
Kresge Krumlov, Czech Republic, I think. I don't know if my details are right on this, but we get in, me and my business partner and the group that we're with get into Kresge Krumlov, and And all of a sudden, my business partner is freaking out, and he's this grown man. At the time, he's probably 45, 50 years old. And he's like, dude, this place is freaking me out, man. He's like, I saw that movie, and this is not right where I'm at right now. This is just feels completely weird. Like, he had to walk away from the street we were going down. He's like, I'm not going down that street. I'm not doing that. And I'm like, the hell's wrong with you? He's like, you need to watch the movie, man, because you would look at this place completely different. Apparently, it was filmed there. I don't know. So there was that, I guess. So not purposely, but I did.
You did. Okay. Yeah.
Did you watch the movie afterwards?
No, I haven't seen it still. No.
Of course
Maybe
not.
you should watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe so. I guess I've had enough
Brian
time.
is barely part of popular culture. He's
No. Yeah, so
it's the most amazing thing. Like
the fact he can get onto the computer.
Right. I know. It's amazing,
Thank
actually.
you.
I think he's less part of popular culture than I am, and
I know. Orion is, yeah, he just doesn't do anything. Yeah.
No.
He likes Pearl Jam. Like
Yeah,
Pearl,
exactly.
like what band do you go see? Pearl Jam. What concert you been this year? Well, Pearl Jam in March, and then twice in April, and once in May, and yeah.
You're not wrong.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing.
Anyone else want to chime in?
Go ahead.
I don't think I've been to any intentionally that are supposed to be spooky places. I haven't been on any ghost tours. I haven't even been to Lint. Well, I did go to Lint Mansion, but it wasn't for that tour. So I don't think I've really done on that. I've accidentally stumbled upon weird places in the middle of the woods. It was one time I came across a family cemetery and I didn't know it was there. And I was 3 miles in on a hike and I was like, oh, that's weird. And I just kept walking, but nothing intentionally.
Okay. Yeah. I've been to the Death Museum in New Orleans, that's pretty freaky. It's all about, death and, memorabilia from serial killers and stuff like that. And the owner was there when I was there that day. And he was like, they're trying to get the body of G.G. Allen, a famous punk rocker guy that used to crap on the stage and throw it in the audience. That guy. I mean, you probably heard about him, that G.G. Allen. That's the guy who always said he was going to kill himself on stage and stuff like that, but he ended up, dying, not because of that. But yeah, so Gigi, and I think he always said he was going to do it on Halloween, but he was always in jail on Halloween, maybe on purpose, maybe not. So I don't know, but he was always in jail and missed it. So, but supposedly his brother was giving him permission to dig him up and bring him in there. So his body was going to be on display there. So I don't know if it's there or not. I haven't followed up myself. That was a few years ago since I've been there. So yes.
So
come to think of it, I did go to the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park.
That's pretty scary, yeah.
Yeah.
If you've seen the movie The Shining, it is.
However, I've never seen the movie.
Of course not. Of course not.
Come on, Ryan. I've seen that one.
That's a great movie, Ryan.
Love that movie.
Yeah. But I've been to the hotel, so count it, right?
Did you think it was spooky?
Yeah, I could see maybe how it could be, but no, when I was there, I did not think it was spooky, but so a lot of people there thought it was, so.
Okay.
Was there an axe laying around?
No, I think
That would have been
picked that
funny.
up before the tour there.
Right. Darren, what were you going to say?
The owner or the curator of this death museum.
Yeah.
Did he seem like a pretty normal guy?
Yeah, he seemed like a guy who's happy he's making he didn't seem like a creeper, like this is like his personal collection he's into.
Okay.
He seemed like a guy who's figured out a way to make lots of money. Yeah. He seemed like,
I figured it was one of two ways, and that was the better way.
Right. It was like a big laugh for him that he's making all this money off of this stuff. And it's kind of controversial, too, so some people get pissed about, if you have anything from serial killers, there are people that will get angry about that, and like, why would you celebrate Dahmer or Manson or any of these people in any way? And he's just the type to poke the bear to, put them on a t-shirt then and, sell the t-shirts to make extra money. So people are now wearing it around to put it back in their face. So yeah, he seemed like a guy who, enjoyed the making the money and bothering people that, get upset by that type of stuff. So yeah. Becca, how about you? Have you done any, that sort of tourism?
When we went to Germany when I was a kid, and I know they have probably a lot of this stuff in numerous castles. I was only 12 or something. But they had it was strange that they had rooms where they showed all the torture devices.
Uh-huh.
That seemed weird to go and look at as a 12-year-old.
Right.
That's kind of that. It's strange that it was I get it because it's part of history, but that was kind of weird. A little bit of dark tourism there, I would imagine. But I haven't really done anything weird like that. My mom went to the have you guys heard of the bodies exhibit that they have in Las Vegas?
Yeah, it was in St. Louis.
That counts, I think, as some dark tourism there.
I never went to that, but I heard, it was.
My mom said it stinks. Like,
really?
It stinks. And so what the bodies thing is literally
plastic in the bodies. Yeah, to preserve them.
It's dead people's bodies that they've had like cut into, like they've taken out all the nerve endings, so you can see how like all the nerves were set up and all the veins, and like people that were like cut like in slivers, so you can see like every single piece of a person. And allegedly these are people who like offered their bodies to science.
Right.
There's a lot of controversy around this exhibit.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of controversy to donating your body to science because people think it's for the greater good. This is to help solve cancer or whatever. No, they sell it to people like the body exhibits and shit like that.
And they like slice them into like paper thin pieces to like see like how the body stacks up next to each other. Like, and it's like just really weird. Like they like mummify some people. Like they do like all this like weird stuff to the people. And so I would say that is a bit of dark tourism for sure. My mom was just interested, so she went to it. She's like, it was definitely kind of weird and it really stunk. And the more you thought about the fact that there was like real people, the more you're like,
Right.
So like with the mummy exhibits that you see it sometimes be considered this dark tourism?
I don't think so. Like, no, I don't think so.
Because they're older, right?
It's like, well, just because it's like such old like history. So like the bodies exhibit is literally they did this for the exhibit. They cut up people's bodies for this exhibit.
Yeah,
right. They didn't kill them though for the exhibit. They died.
Allegedly, they just died of natural causes.
Right.
Okay.
But you get into this whole idea, to Becca's point, you get into this idea that someone's job was to take some sort of, I don't know, some sort of plasma cutter and cut these people up like that or whatever they did.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a weird job to have, right?
Yeah.
It seems interesting.
Yeah, like the way
to go to the display. I don't want to do the job. I want to see it though.
Yeah, a lot of big wieners in there too. My buddy Dave went and he was like, Jesus Christ. He's like, he was with his wife. He's like, I was humiliated. I was like, well, Dave, sorry, man.
Huh. Interesting takeaway. Of all the things.
He did feel better, though, because all of the dead ones had huge wieners, and he felt pretty small, so he thought maybe that means he's going to live longer. Yeah. he was still living. Yeah. He might have a small wiener, but he's alive. So, yeah. Well, so
it's a solid point.
So there you go. On that note, guess what, gang? It's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start with Darren. He looks ready to go. What do you got there, dude?
I got some investment bourbon finish and rum cast, the latest release from local celebrity Michael Steinkamp.
That's very good. That's a great cork pop. All right, Ryan, what do you got?
I just need everybody to recognize the effort and not the cork pop tonight, because I stopped by a distillery in Coram, Montana. Darren?
Just outside of Glacier also.
Good answer, buddy. You're on point, buddy. You are on point. Our friends at Glacier Distillery. And just got a little 50 ml of the North Fork rye whiskey they have, actually. So there's no cork pop, but I did make an effort to have a little something here.
Okay.
So there's a crack.
Okay, there's a crack. Della's joined us. So Della's either coming in or here. Della, can you hear us? Must be getting ready to join us. Becca, what do you got?
I've got... let's see here. I've got some Willet Straight Rye Whiskey.
Okay. Not as good as Darren's. I got Red Line Tokai Finish. Let's see here. I'm hoping for the best. Relatively new model. Oh!
Go off.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a win.
A good one, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So cheers, gang.
Cheers.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll see if we can find Della. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the 2024 Kentucky Bourbon Festival. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of executive bourbon steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your executive bourbon steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your executive bourbon steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show.
I'm Ryan Thompson, and I am a billionaire, and KK will get none of my whiskey, and I enjoy my single malt scotch. You're listening to the Bourbon Daily. Pendleton, where's my caviar?
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, and Della Fane has joined us.
She has, yes. Yeah, I get confused on that Phoenix time, and I did mess that up. So
he screwed the pooch on that one.
I did. I told her an hour off, and she was here on time for the time that I told her to be here. Not on time for when we actually podcast, but again, that's not her fault.
We just have no idea what time it is in Arizona.
Neither do I. I literally turn to Jay all the time, and I'm like, so what time is it there?
Right.
What time?
We think it's the best idea going. No one thinks we need to have this daylight savings thing anymore. It's a mess. It messes everything up. But we all need to do it together. It shouldn't be just one state is like, we're doing this. No, we all need to. Otherwise, it just causes more problems. So, yeah, than it fixes. So, hopefully, they keep saying they're going to address this. I don't know why they don't.
They literally have it on there like every year, and they're like, we like maybe could, but we probably should. And everyone's like, we need to do this. And they're like, let's just do it next year.
Yeah.
Like, didn't they pass they were going to do it, but then they just didn't finish?
Yeah, I thought so.
Like, yeah, it's going to be passed, and then nothing happened.
I thought so.
Right. So, yeah, there we go. So we continue to pay the price for that, but so it is what it is.
Luckily, we're blabbermouths and have only completed one show.
This is true.
In the length of an hour. We've had an hour, and we've done one show and one small talk. Well, two small talks, I guess, but that's all we've got done.
Yeah. So
Didn't
you haven't
miss
missed
much,
out.
Della.
Yeah. Well, this is good because we got one show coming up dedicated to you. So we were like, we don't even know what we're going to do with that show. So yeah.
I'm here.
You're here. So the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, Beka, you and I went down to that. What were your just general thoughts about the festival this year?
It was packed.
Yeah.
For one, like it was packed, like the lines everywhere.
Like what? Like shoulder to shoulder packed?
Not shoulders. Like you could walk around.
It's
like
spread out, but
it wasn't so bad where like you couldn't move. Like you could walk around in different places, but like there was like every single like distillery you went up to, there was going to be a line. Like,
How
you
long?
weren't just,
at least 10 deep. At least
yeah,
at
you
least
weren't
10
just
deep,
like
maybe
walking
15.
straight up and tasting
Right.
something unless
They're
you
all
were
people
VIP.
stacked up. Yeah.
That's it. Unless you got there early, for like if you got there right at noon, you could probably walk around because like a lot of those people were at like the big distilleries waiting in the lines for like their releases.
Yeah.
And so you had time to like go to all the craft stuff and like taste things without a huge line. Or if you did VIP where you get to come in an hour early and go and like taste things. But it was like there was so many people. I think that in general, like it keeps improving every year.
I was gonna say a bigger crowd than last year.
Yeah. Biggest crowd ever this year.
And they said
so.
that there was people from every single state was represented. They said
Yeah.
Nice.
people bought tickets from every single state in the country, which
And 85% were from outside of Kentucky, which is big. I mean, that shows you it truly is this big kind of global festival because then they had a lot of other countries represented and stuff. So it's cool.
They could have had a lot more Kentuckians there. Even they could have done 10 easily, I would guess.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Is it just Kentucky distilleries or is it distilleries from all over?
just the Kentucky Bourbon Festival is only Kentucky distilleries.
Yeah.
And you can only bring your bourbon or rye whiskey is kind of like the rule for the most part.
Yes.
Most part.
There are exceptions.
Yes. Yeah.
I wouldn't know if I'd say exceptions. There's just some rule breaks on occasion, we'll say.
Sometimes people break the rules a little
Yeah,
bit.
some people.
It's for the customer though. It's in the. You're right.
Yeah.
Even the KDA can't be like, well, you were making the customer happy. We're mad about that. No, it is ultimately about the customer. So.
Yeah, the customer's always right.
Right.
And they want more whiskey.
Exactly. They want more things.
But people, I mean, and here's the other thing: like people were buying at this.
Yes,
like
big time.
It wasn't
like how much?
Like people, people spent a lot of money at this festival, and like people would like. It wouldn't be like, oh, I guess I'll just get one bottle. Like they would buy like 4 bottles, 5 bottles at like one distillery. And like they were just loading up on all this stuff. But also think about how many people were from out of state. So this is all stuff that they can't get a lot of times. And so that's what a lot of people said. They're like, well, I can never get this stuff. And so this is like my chance to get stuff that's like distillery release only or festival release only, and so I can like get this and bring it back. But like people, I mean, they flew in from everywhere. I don't even know how some of these people got it back. Yeah, like so many of these people had been driving.
Yeah.
Were there any whales there?
Whales?
Yeah, like in the beer world, a whale is hard to get. Something that somebody's going to pay like a lot of money for.
Yeah.
Like, was there one there that a lot of people were talking about? Was there
Gotcha. It's unicorns in the bourbon world.
Yes. Yeah. Unicorns, yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of that kind of stuff there.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Darren and I even know a person who was there procuring things for resale. They had that sort of stuff there that you can get to resell, and releases every day. So you have the opportunity to get multiples of things or get really unique and limited stuff for sure.
Like this, even just the single barrels that were like selected for the festival itself. Like they're people that were picking the barrels will have great palates. And they went to 42 distilleries, did single barrel picks for the festival. And so like you could literally buy a single barrel pick for like from there for like, I think someone did the math. I think the total would have been like $2,000 or something like that for if you like bought all the single barrels.
I did. I bought 2.
Honestly, not an awful deal.
I don't think that's that bad, honestly, but that's a lot of bottles. That's like 42 bottles.
Yeah.
So that part's crazy. But there was like the Michter's Toasted.
Yeah.
Heaven Hill had a release there.
They had the 18-year. They had the
13-year
Old Fits. Yeah.
Yep. They had the Maker's Mark Cellar Aged.
Yep. The new one.
I think Angel's Envy had something cool.
Yes. Triple Oak.
Yep.
Beam had Little Book Infinite and Booker's Reserve.
Yep. But there was
and Baker's 13 too, which is another.
And there was a special high rye Baker's that was somewhere. I don't know if that was at the distillery or what. We tried that the other day.
Four Roses did a distillery release during the festival, right? They didn't do it at the festival, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so they released that at like 3:00 in the morning during one of the during the festival. You could get in line at 3 a.m. at their distillery to buy stuff. And I here's my main thing. I don't know how these people make it through the festival.
Yeah.
Because they're getting trashed.
Right.
Like,
Beka, how many people were doing like 3 or 4 samples at your place?
Oh,
it's
a ton of
then
them.
then you're like, if they're doing this at every one of these booths
They're
here,
fucking
how are they
trash.
walking? How are they upright? Yeah.
I don't know. And like people had to be trashed. And so like they're doing this all day. Like it starts at, let's say they do just the regular pass. So they get there at noon.
Right.
And then that goes till 6. And then they go to some special event dinner because there's all these special events after the festival. And so you know that they're getting extra trash there. And then going home, and then like they do a fucking 3 a.m. distillery release at Four Roses.
Right.
Like, when are these people sleeping, and when are they sobering up? Like, they're not.
Right.
Like, it's
At
impossible.
3 a.m. in line.
They're just keeping it going.
We
So-
have a strong beer festival here where it's only like it's mostly barrel aged stouts and quads and barley wines and porters they're no 10 percenters there. They like start at 12 and they go up to 13, 14, 15, 18%. And you can get through, I can get through like maybe 4 tastings and then I start giving my tickets away. I'm like,
Right.
I can't
Can't get
That
trashed.
stuff will get
because
you.
people are throwing up in trash cans
Right.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens.
And I've seen that in St. Louis. Beka, did you see any of that going on at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival? Anybody thrown up or
I
getting in a
didn't
fight
see
or?
anyone getting into fights or like physically falling over or throwing up.
Yeah.
I did have a lady that was at our tent doing like a who girl. She's just woo. She's screaming at our tent. She's like,
Right.
"My birthday! It's my birthday in like 3 weeks." It's like, it's not your birthday. It's in 3 weeks. And like, so I definitely saw some people that were visibly trashed,
Right.
but it wasn't as bad as like you'd expect. But like, you know that these people are trash, but like none of them were like displaying the clear signs necessarily. But like, you know that they are. And like, there was some people that you're like, that was weird. Like, end of the day, you're like talking to people and you're like, these people barely know what's happening.
Right. Right.
They are here.
At Whiskey in the Winter, Beka, you were there last year.
Yeah. Those
there
people.
There was a guy with, it was a woman with she just had like a plastic bag and she just got her head in there, just sitting on the floor in the middle of the thing, just throwing up in the bag.
And there's a lady
"My
that
God,
fell over
I'd be
the
done with
escalator,
Yeah.
like 3 floors up
Yeah.
the one time.
Yeah. Yeah. Went tumbling over that. Yeah.
Steve and I did practice being Della. Actually, we were like, all right, like I was calling on my inner Della Fane because they have a VIP section there that you have to have, your VIP thing.
We
to
just
go
acted
into.
like we should be there, Della.
And
yeah.
yeah,
What did
we
I
were-
tell you? That's all it takes.
Right.
It was perfect. I like walked in, I walked in numerous times, and I would like, there's people that are like standing there like scanning your wristband, and I'm like walking in, and the one guy's like taps the thing, and I'm like, yeah, and I waved him off.
Right.
And I just walked past. I just went on in like I was
We just
supposed
went
to
in.
be there. And
Yeah.
Steve and I did that, I think, a few times. We
Yeah,
just would go
because they got the food in there. It's air
yeah,
conditioned.
Nice,
free
right.
food and drinks and
you need to
water.
eat. And right, and you need water.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like the good water. Like they had like bottled water in there where like outside was for the poor people with like, you
Right.
get it from like a pump station, It's
There's
like,
there's like a big round thing with this hot water that's in there that you can pump out. Yeah.
yeah, like we're not doing that. We're pretending that we belong in here
Right.
and just walked on through. Or I'd be like, oh, I need to go see Tim. And I just,
Right.
I just walk.
Walk in and start waving at someone in the back,
Right.
oh yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And I did know some of the like bartenders in there. So I was like, well, no, like after I get in, like no one's going to tell me to
fine.
get out.
Right. Once you get in, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the pesky door people that you got to get past,
Right.
which I would just
Yeah.
flick away. Ugh, get away from me.
So
Taking their jobs.
How many distilleries were there total?
Ooh.
It-
Uh,
I can find out in about 2 seconds here.
oh, she's gonna look it up.
All
real
right.
I'm going to
quick.
look it up. 'cause it has
What
it
was your
right on the-
question, Darren? As she's
my
looking
my
up?
question was, what was on the Neely table? What were you guys tasting out?
Well, there are only 2 items, of course.
Yeah,
only
only
two
two items
only
at a
allowed
time, but there were
two.
several days, so you had to change it every day. I'm sure.
Hidden Barn Organic was there.
Okay.
We also had our 7-year was there.
Yep.
We also had Cherry Picker.
Yep. The famous cherry
And
picker.
we had, let's see, we had Cherry Picker. We also had Papa's Birthday Barrel was under the table. So we sold a lot of that because the people be like, there's a birthday barrel here. And we'd be like, well.
And a lot of them had met him there at the event the previous year.
Yeah, and we're like, well, maybe. And so we pull it out from under the table, and it's 100 proof, so it's like easy sipper. And so we pull it out, and people are like, what did you have under the table? What was that? Can I have that? Yeah. And so people were, if you think you're missing out, then you don't want to miss out. So we had those, and we had the bourbon ball there because it counts. And we also had a single barrel pick for the festival there. That was, I think, really fantastic.
Rye or bourbon?
It was a high rye bourbon. It was like 111 proof. There was 62 distilleries there.
Okay.
200 brands and expressions, it says. 55 experts and master distillers. And then they had 31 premium events and panels.
Yeah.
And then who was your neighbor, Becca? Like, who was on either side of you?
We were down by the shitters.
Right. Shitters on one side. So it's like Neely, open space, shitters, open space, and then Peerless.
Yep, Peerless was they were like it was like a U, and so Peerless was straight across from us, and then we had Barrel House right next to us.
Yes, yeah.
I think Barrel House is like Dueling Grounds, Barrel House.
Yes.
Like they were on the same kind of road.
It was Barrel House, then Dueling Grounds. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Hemingway was right there.
Yeah.
And then Heaven's Door was kind of like in the middle of all of that.
Right across was Red Line.
Yep, Red Line was right there.
Because they had like in the middle too. So you got the perimeter, and then you got some in the middle. So Red Line was in the middle and across from Neely. So yeah.
But it was good. There was a lot of cool stuff there, I'd say.
Yeah, they've really brought that festival back to greatness. So it was great, and then it was terrible, and now it's great again. So.
Akeley, a two-part question. How many autographs did you sign?
A couple, actually. It's weird to me, right?
Quite a few.
Yeah, a couple, and people ask for pictures too, which is
that was my second part. Was how many
pictures with Steve Akeley? Oh, I'm like walking around with Steve, and I'm like getting like tossed to the side. Will you take my picture with Steve Akeley? I'm like, who the fuck I am, man.
That's weird, right?
You got to take a selfie before anytime you take a picture.
Yeah,
Steve.
it was pretty funny. Like, there was I like walked through with Steve, and there was like quite a few people who were like, "Oh my God, is that Steve Akeley?"
Love it.
Yeah,
so that was pretty cool. It was actually really funny. And then we got in trouble at one point. We were trying to leave the festival.
Yes.
This is my favorite story.
There's like a two-parter, really. There's two parts to the story. So, but yeah, that comes around innocently enough. We didn't know that the two parts weren't related, but we thought they were. So, yeah. But it was a drunk guy, basically. There was a drunk guy that recognized me in the car as we're leaving. And so the second part of it, we won't get into the whole first part because it's a longer story. But yeah, so as we're leaving, the guy's standing in the way, and we stop, talk to him, and we thought he was looking for a parking pass. He wasn't. And there's a reason why we thought he might be looking for it. That's part one. But and then he's like, Colonel Steve, that's the Colonel, and and all this. And then he was talking about how much he enjoys my stuff and how much he really liked the video from that day, which I was telling the story about. The ultimate thing would be to have barbecue at the nose. That I've been working on that with Royce. And I was like, oh, by the way, Royce Neely's here. So then he's Royce Neely, and then there's a car pulls up behind us. And it's just sitting there at first. At first, they're being patient. This guy just keeps talking. And we thought he was with the festival, so we thought, well, compelled
we
to
better talk.
Yeah, we better talk.
Like, we better not shut up yet.
Right. So then the car runs out of patience and honks at us, and this guy turns around and yells, "I'm fucking talking to the Colonel!" And,
Go around!
Yeah.
Go around!
So then the car pulls around, backs up, has to back up, and then pulls around and stops right next to me, rolls down the window, and it's Stacy Pritchard from the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, the person who runs the whole damn thing.
He runs it.
We had a terrible day, by the way, because it was like raining in the morning and hot.
Horrible day. And also, it's like, that's her entire year. It's like getting ready for this festival. It's the first fucking day. Right. It's hot. It had been pouring rain that morning, so they had to put down hay. It's miserable. She's been worn down and wants to get the hell out of there. And we're just parked right there in the way. She wants to go the fuck home. And then who's there?
She probably had like a 16-hour day on her feet.
The problem children are right there.
We have an incident every year. So.
There we are.
The guy was talking to the fucking Colonel.
We get in trouble every single time.
So she just looks and sees it's us. She just shakes her head, rolls up the window, and leaves.
He said that that she's not mad at us. She said she was worried that this man was hassling us, but I think she was probably a little bit annoyed at us.
I would think so too. Yeah.
I mean, I would be.
Yeah, I would be too.
So.
And it turns out the guy has nothing to do with the festival. It's just a drunken
Nothing.
fan. Yeah.
And like we were doing stuff, like we were going through like the emergency exit and stuff. And the only reason I started going through emergency exit, which you're not allowed to go through.
Right.
I was like, you have to go out, like it's kind of a trek to go out and like get more product, and you got to carry it back in. Most of us have wagons, because if you're smart enough to have a wagon anyways, but still like pulling this wagon and you got to go through all these people, like through the festival to get to your stuff. And I was like, damn, like there's not another gate to go through. But as I'm wagoning my stuff, the guy from another distillery, I won't name it, but he goes, wait, where's your tent? I was like, over by the bathrooms over there. He's like, oh, follow me. And I'm like, where are we going? He's like, I've got a secret entrance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, are we going to get in trouble? He's like, I don't know. I just keep using it. He's like, it was completely shut. Like there was like zip ties down the whole thing, and he just went and cut all the zip ties.
Oh, perfect.
To go through it. And I'm like, oh, cool, that's great. And so we go and way quicker, didn't have to go through any people. I got to wagon our stuff right on in there, super easy. The next day, they've got people stationed at this spot.
Right.
To like, and like you're not going in or out, there's a chain on it. And so then we just bribed the people with whiskey, and then they didn't care if you were going in and out of it. So we gave them bottles of whiskey so that we could go through it, because it was just so much faster. But also, like, I see why they didn't want us going through it, because you would go right in, like, in the parking lot of the fire station and like be walking in front of the fire trucks.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
they technically have it there where it can be opened up. Again, only in the need of an emergency, hence the zip ties and that they have the tools to cut that off. But if someone passes out, has a heart attack there, whatever, they're right there. They're just on the other side of the fence. That's their emergency way to get in. But again, you're not supposed to be going through there.
Yeah.
But,
I was thinking like it was an emergency exit to get people out. I'm like, well, zip tying it and chaining it shut doesn't sound legal.
No. It's just for emergency purposes.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we use that, but we weren't like the worst kids there.
No, it doesn't sound like
of course not. Of course not.
Yeah.
So
now Steve, on the other hand, got in early because he decided to blend in with the Neelys. And then the worst part was, so Steve gets in there early. And
are we supposed to be talking about this? Will ruin my grip.
No, it won't. You're fine. They'll forget about it by next year.
Okay, I'll forget about it. Good. So I want to do it again. I got some good bottles.
You're with us.
Right.
You're with us anyway. So Steve came in and he was helping us. He drove us. He's our chauffeur that day.
Right.
And so Steve's in there early. So he's like, well, I'm going to go stand in line. And I'm like, okay. And so I go to find Steve, and what did you say super loud, Steve, that you thought you didn't think you said it loud, but every person.
I thought I was talking in a normal voice. I said, you was like, what did you say? Something about you wanted my keys or something. Or I was like, that's fine. I just can't let anybody see me because I'm not even supposed to be here right now. And like three people turn around and be like, ah! I'm like,
yeah, he did. I didn't think Steve said it that loud. He goes, oh, I don't let anyone know that I'm here though, and this guy goes, you're not supposed to be here right now.
And then the
other person like whips around. They all, everyone turns around and looks at Steve like, who's not supposed to be here right now? Like, who's this person that's not allowed to be?
So I was trying to buy the good bottles, the Booker's Infinite and Booker's Reserve and all that kind of stuff. So, but I didn't want to go just stand in line at Beam when no one's there that's not supposed to be there. So basically, I just waited until I see the gates open and people start coming in, and then I could just saunter over there because they got to run across. And then, by the way, the people start running like idiots. They're running and shit, pushing each other. Ridiculous. I just move over a few feet, but I kind of almost messed myself up there by apparently talking too loud. So,
and Steve looks at me because all these people turn around. He goes, "Did I say that loud?" I'm like, "I mean, you just kind of said it, but like there was no music, there was nothing going on. It was just people setting up, so it's just like dead quiet." And Steve just goes, "I'm not supposed to be here right now."
Hey, I got my Little Book Infinite and my Michter's Toasted that day. So
mission accomplished.
Yeah, I did good. I was happy.
A successful day.
Beka Sue, how many years have you guys done it?
I would say probably with you being there, Becca, I don't think they did it. They didn't do
never
that.
did it
when I
before
first started.
me.
Yeah, so.
It was
I
Becca's idea to go. She gets all the credit.
No.
It wasn't worth going to for quite a while.
Yeah.
Actually, it was.
We've
had gone
done
downhill. Yeah.
3 years that I've been. I think we've done 4 years. I think that I think it happened in 2020, but it was like really like smaller in 2020 because I think Tony Mancello went to it for us.
Okay.
But Eddie came with 2 years or 2 separate years, so Eddie's been there twice, and so we've at least done it 3 years because Eddie wasn't here this year, and
Yeah.
so and I know that Tony went to it for us. Or maybe he went like a day early or something. I don't know. We've done it at least 3 years, maybe 4 years.
Yeah, great.
But it's gotten
Nice.
better and better because they allow bottle sales and stuff now. So, and here's a big thing for next year. They're changing the date. Steve, I
Yeah.
don't know if you knew that.
I
It's gonna
saw
be
that.
on
I actually, yeah.
the first weekend of September as opposed to the
second.
second weekend.
Yeah, second weekend.
So that's a big change.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
thought they'd go a weekend later, hoping it'd be colder.
Yeah.
No.
That's kind of what I would have thought too, but they changed it to a weekend sooner.
yeah, and I guess I don't know if it's good or bad, indifferent, but it has to make it tougher on the staff only because it follows a holiday weekend. So everybody's going to be off Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then the festival starts. Really, some of the stuff starts happening on Tuesday. You got the Hall of Fame induction and all that. So they're literally going to be coming back from a vacations and time at the lake or whatever people do, and right into throwing it into the festival. So that's going to be
Interesting.
Stacy Pritchard may bite her head off next year when we do some of the shenanigans because
Yeah.
I think it's only going to be incrementally tougher. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see what shenanigans we pull this time. See,
Yeah.
this last year I could just be like, well, my husband's an icon. I can do whatever I want.
This is true. This is true.
So, that's
He was on the Icon panel, so
so
yeah, keep a copy of that. You have to have
exactly.
that.
I can get a press release. Yeah, I'll
Press
print it
release of
off.
that,
I'll
yeah.
print it
Look.
off and keep it in my pocket at all times. Just
Right.
in case.
Icon,
Get it laminated.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
She's
Get
Kinda
a
like
like-
T-shirt that says "My husband was an icon."
Yeah, yeah. I
Probably.
wanted a T-shirt that said "as featured on Bruzel" because everyone was asking me about being on the Bruzel video there. It was so weird. Yeah. So
Yeah, that was.
I've been working my whole life, dedicated to this full time, and no one hears of me till I go on a Bruzel video. So that's yeah.
What do you think about the fact that some places serve cocktails? Like they're free cocktails, but what do you think about the fact that some places serve cocktails, Steve? Do you think it's silly or do you think it's
No, I think it's good because I think a lot of them do weather appropriate stuff too. Some cool cocktails like things that are refreshing. They kind of focus on the refreshing ones. Some of them are the frozen cocktails and stuff like that. And I think that's good. It just adds to it. So yeah.
I'm assuming that was mostly the big guys.
for the most? I
yeah.
don't think almost any of the small guys had cocktails.
I was gonna say that seems like a pain in the ass, like from a management
Right.
standpoint. But
Here's my issue with the cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
Is I do love that there's cocktail. Like I do love that people have cocktails there. Like Barrel Bourbon does the best slushy at the
Right.
festival.
Right. We
and
tested that out this
Yeah,
time.
we did a slushy testing, and Barrel's is
win.
the best
Barrel
one. But
wins.
Penelope
Barrel
had a good one. I like Penelope's. And then I know that Angel's Envy had some like interesting like not canned cocktails. Like I don't know if they were pre-made or what they had done, but they were in like cool little containers.
Yeah. Evan Williams had an old fashioned. I had one of those.
Yeah, I'd say those look pretty cool, but they had some like fancy drinks there. But this was my issue with it, at least for craft guys, is to me that's a complete. You're fucking up if you're a craft guy and you do cocktails because of the fact, and I just mean craft. I don't think I say big distilleries. I don't think make a difference. But when we went up to get slushies, all we did, Steve, was we were like, we need a slushie. Give us a
Right.
slushie. Yeah, pour some bourbon on top, and then we ran away.
Right.
Right.
And like if you did that at a craft place, then like no one's buying your bottles because they're just
Yep.
coming to get a
Right.
slushie,
Right.
and
Right.
no one's coming to actually taste your whiskey.
yeah.
I think it's kind of my at least I guess that's my thought on it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you felt about it, but that was kind of what I was like. That's how I felt about the cocktails if a small distillery did them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too, but I didn't see any of the small guys.
I don't think any of the
doing it
small
either.
ones
So,
did them. I think just the big guys do them.
Yeah. But it was neat, and there were some of those special releases and stuff like that. Like I picked up the collaboration from Buzzard's Roost. That's trying things different at those type of things is fun.
We had the ice wine from Barrel.
Yes,
I love ice wine.
yeah. So they had an ice wine barrel finish, which and then I really liked it. And Joe Beatrix was there, and he was like, "Well, you should buy it. It's coming in Missouri." I'm like, their distributor won't really sell to us, that kind of stuff. And of course, they fucking sent a message right there. Distributor sends me an email. Oh, glad you're excited about this.
Steve pissing people off once again.
Yeah. They sent me a message saying I'm first in line to get some. I'm sure they were very happy about that. I'm sure they have to be because they got the owner of the company looped in. But I'm sure they were incredibly
We're not the
happy.
most pissed at us right now. We're kind of in good water with them.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
We're at the best we've been, I guess, with most of them now.
We're the best we've been.
We've been fighting with all of them at some point, but we're not really fighting with anybody right now. I don't think. Hopefully, no more. They know we're here. At least they know we're here.
Steve, who is the coolest person you met at the festival?
Coolest person I met.
I mean, you kind of already know everyone, but did you meet anyone that you were like, it was a interesting connection, anyways, to make?
I don't think I met anybody that I've never met before. Other than no, I guess there's not.
The answer was Beka. She was fishing for a compliment there.
Beka.
And
I
you
was
walked
not
right
fishing.
away from it.
Beka. I know who Beka met. That's the coolest. I'm not going to ruin it.
How about
But
Beka,
I met
how
that
about
person
you?
already. I know who it is, and I met this person already though. So, and that person is probably the coolest. And it's one of those people. I'm going to let Beka say who it is. But it's one of those people when they walk into a room, everyone just follows them. So that person didn't come to the festival grounds itself, but if they would have, you would have heard it just go quiet as this person walks by and stuff like that. So Beka, tell who
Wasn't at the festival?
Wasn't at the festival grounds. Was at the Icons thing. I would assume this is who you're going to say, right?
Oh, I mean, well, I already knew all the icons. Oh, Baker Beam.
Baker Beam,
That was the coolest. Yeah, that
Baker
was
Beam
the
is
same,
one
yeah.
of the coolest guys you're gonna. He doesn't do a lot of that kind of stuff, but he was at that Icons thing.
That was the coolest person.
And
that
he
I
is.
gotta meet.
He's If you get to meet him at the thing, that's the answer.
If you
unless
get to
Jimmy
meet
Russell
Baker
walks
Beam.
in, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say.
Yeah.
Baker
Jimmy
was like, we pulled up at the Icons dinner and there was a vehicle in front of us and the license plate says Baker on it. And Royce
Right.
goes, "Oh my God." And he walks right up to our car and he's like, "Hey guys," like he says hello. He's an older guy, but he like,
Yeah,
says hello.
it's
And I
in
was
his
like,
80s.
"Oh," I said, "Do you want to come for a ride in this thing?" And he just started laughing. And I was like, "Royce will like launch it down the road if you want." And he just like laughed about it. He was there with his girlfriend, because that's what 84-year-olds do. They have
Sure.
girlfriends.
girlfriends, yeah.
The funniest part was they called him a ladies' man at the Icons dinner. And the famous ladies' man, Baker Beam.
Uh-huh.
And we were just laughing, and his girlfriend did not look happy about that.
Really? Yeah.
And Royce was like, "Am I going to lose you to Baker Beam?" And I was like, "I mean, I said 40 years ago, yeah." I said, "We just wrong time."
Yeah. He was a rock star before Master Distillers were rock stars. He was, riding their motorcycle into work and stuff like that. He was a cool dude.
Yeah. And
Was that who you were going to say, Beka? Or were you going to say something else?
No, I was thinking about who I met at the festival. I wasn't even thinking about the Icons dinner, but you're correct. Baker was like, that was the highlight for sure, was Baker. And then I also, at the Icons dinner, like it was the Icons. So, I gotta actually meet some of these people who I've met sort of before, but like not as Royce Neely's wife. Like I've pestered people. Like I just pester people. I've bothered Mike Veach into being my friend. Like I just annoyed him until he was like, "Fine, she can be my friend." And I've done that to. I didn't do it to anyone of the Icons necessarily.
I was going to say, I can't imagine you did that with Freddie No and.
She already knows Freddie. Right?
Freddie No likes us, so that one was an easy
Brent
one.
Elliott,
but
I can
like
see that
Fred No,
happening.
I was like, "Oh, Fred," I was like, "I kind of met you before." I said, "I've like like I've like said bullshit while like he was standing there like talking to Jason Bronner and stuff at like the New Orleans Bourbon Festival. And then like Brent Elliott, I bothered him at the New Orleans Bourbon Festival back in 2019 and was like, "Oh, what do you got under the table?" And like I had him pour stuff for me before. And so it was funny seeing these guys as like that, I guess. And like I'm there with one of
Yeah.
the icons.
Yeah.
And not as just a dumb pitch.
That was the best part of the Kentucky Bourbon Festival for you, right, Becca? That was that night.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it was awesome.
Sure. Yeah,
Like-
I don't know that.
Like I don't.
That
know
was
how-
that's my answer too, and I wasn't there. That
Yeah,
is so
like-
cool.
That was
I
his
don't
favorite
think-
night of the festival.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't
By
think that you
far.
could beat it. And then I guess we should say this since we're not going to do that other show we talked about, but we had for our cocktail at the Icons Festival we did or the Icons dinner. I sent them my recipe for our Sazerac. And so they used our bourbon, obviously, and they used our absinthe for it. And I sent in the recipe that I made up for us at the distillery, which it's not like it's super far off of a regular Sazerac recipe, but still it's different than the normal ones are. And everyone loved it, and they loved it so much that Jim Beam is putting our absinthe at the kitchen table at their distillery, which is like their restaurant there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Nice.
so cool.
That's cool.
And so they're gonna have Sazeracs at the kitchen table at the Jim Beam Distillery. So like that is wild and like so cool.
Beyond wild, actually.
Yeah. So
Well-
like that's just like it's like that's absolutely crazy. And I'll tell you what, that is a different type of stress having a bunch of people who know cocktails and know whiskey taste a cocktail that you gave them the recipe for.
Right.
That is scary.
Well, it's well deserved. That absinthe is beautiful.
I know you like it.
I do.
Yeah. So very cool. Well, there you go. That is a little bit about this year's Kentucky Bourbon Festival, and yeah, good things. And looking forward to next year. That's one. Circle the calendars. First weekend in September next year. So yeah, come down and be part of it. It's not Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just so everyone knows, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I famously showed up on Thursday at noon to go in.
And
There's
it
no
was
one
my
there.
fault somehow.
Yeah, well, Becca's
It was
asking,
my
what-
fault. Steve goes,
well, I'm
wish you
going-
would have told me it wasn't today.
Yeah,
But the
because
funniest
she
part,
asked me-
I fucking called
It's her
Steve.
fault. It's her
I
fault.
called Steve and I'm like, so what are you doing on Thursday? Because I saw he's going to be here Thursday. And I go, what are you doing Thursday? And he's like, I'm going to talk to people and go to distilleries. And it was like really like secretive, or what I was taking on as secretive while he was saying it. And I said to Royce, I'm like, I don't know what Steve's up to, but he's up to something. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. He's being sneaky. I was like, he usually tells me everything. And he didn't tell me what he's doing on Thursday. So he's doing something sneaky. No, it's because Steve was like, I'm going to talk to people at the festival that day.
Right. I don't read this shit because I need a handler to go with me on this stuff. So I get to the festival. I always park at this church if I'm not parking with the Neelys. So I park I pull into this church, which is a school too.
Best
And-
parking ever.
Yeah. Well, my usually where I go with the church to school, they weren't parking. I thought, well, that makes sense. The kids are in school. Maybe on Thursdays they don't park. That starts on Friday. So I leave there and I go, I'll just park and I'll street park and like see what I can do. I'll be goddamn. I get the best spot. I get the closest spot to the
Of
festival.
course.
I pull in. I'm like, someone must have just left. Maybe they were doing a delivery. I got the best spot in the festival. I'm like, this is amazing. So I go strolling in there. I see media passes. There's like a booth, media passes. I go up there. There's no one in there. And then I see the gate is kind of askew and people are walking in and out carrying boxes. I'm like, well, that's unusual for a festival. They're loading in on festival day. And I'm just standing there, and this woman comes up to me and says, and she's a millennial too. She's like, what can I do for you? I'm like, well, I'm just here for the festival. I need to get my media credentials. She's like, it is tomorrow. I'm like, are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? I'm like, yeah. I was like, of course I knew that. I was just checking on the festival itself. Thank you so much. And then I get there the next day. I come in out with the Neelys, and I get there the next day, and I'm like, I got to go get my media pass. So I go out. I'm already in the festival, but leave to go out to get my media pass. And who's there to check in? Can I help you? And it's her. it's the girl.
Classic.
for.
Uh-oh.
I'm like,
She's like this guy again.
Yeah, but somehow it was my fault. Steve's like,
It
why didn't you
was.
tell me? And I'm like, because you were like, if he would have said, I'm going to the festival that day, I maybe would have been like, why are you going so early? Like because there was an evening VIP event,
right.
But
I was there at noon for the VIP.
but there was,
event.
Steve was.
Like 7 o'clock. I'm there at noon. Yeah.
You're excited, buddy. That's okay. You're excited to get going.
Yeah, so there you go. That's how it went. That was the kickoff to my festival. So that's important, folks. It starts on Friday, not on Thursday. So
Yep, starts Friday unless you have a VIP pass, and then you have,
an evening event, which is
like
worth
bourbon
going
in
to.
the air, I think is what they call it on Thursday night.
Was that a hot air balloon event? That sounds fun.
No.
Oh.
It's just bourbons in the
Just VIP. It's like all. It's like 1,000 people get to go to it.
Yeah, it's cool. And they're selling everything at the things. It's the first chance to get some of those limited releases, so it's cool.
And you didn't go?
He did go.
I did. I did.
Oh, so you did go to the Thursday night thing.
Then what I did is I went to a couple distilleries and then drove up to Neely's, so all the way across the state, and then drove with Royce back down to across the state, and then went to that thing for 3 hours, and then drove back across the state. I just crisscrossed the state of Kentucky. Several times that day. So.
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go.
Then we left bright and early the next morning to head on back across the state.
Head on back. Let's do it again. So there you go. Well, we'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Darren, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at The Bourbon Adventures.
Della.
You can find me on Instagram at 6 Feet of Dynamite and Untapped at 6 Feet of Dynamite.
All right, Ryan.
Across all socials at 10th MTN Whiskey, and our website's 10thwhiskey.com. It's 10th whiskey with an E.
All right. Miss Beka Sue.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue, 1K, no C's.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find at Steve Akeley, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website, abvnetwork.com. Check it out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more. abvnetwork.com. Come by and see us at the ABV Barrel Shop, the place where you can try before you buy. We are online at abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing, we ask you to please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you are in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.